Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Owl Talk podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Camilleri. I serve as the Director of Alumni Engagement and Annual Giving. Our guest for today's episode is Doug Gold, the Chairman of Sigma Pi University. For 30 years, Doug has been solving problems and has been operating businesses around the globe, ranging in size from startups to large public companies. His operational experience spans product rollouts, branding campaigns, venture financing, mergers and acquisitions, and also global budgeting and strategic planning. With an undergraduate degree in finance from Santa Clara University and master's degree from the University of Illinois, he has held multiple C-suite roles. When he's not working or volunteering for Sigma Pi, he spends his time mentoring U.S. Navy SEALs as they transition into civilian life, being a brother with big brothers, big sisters, and serving on several nonprofit boards. Welcome, Doug.
Thanks, Jacob.
So jumping right in here, one of the first questions we have, Doug, is it's great to have you on today and share some of the insights into Sigma Pi University. But before we go into that, I want to go ahead and give our listeners a little bit on your background and involvement with the fraternity.
Sure. Let's see. I guess I joined the Zeta Eta chapter of Santa Clara. Must have been around 1987, 1988, something like that. After graduating, I stayed involved with that chapter as a chapter director until about 1997 or 1998 when I relocated to the East Coast. And at that time, kind of stepped away. And it was about 20 years before I got back involved. Being a chapter director or any of the other types of local roles didn't quite suit my lifestyle at the time. And then I saw this advertisement in the Emerald for a chief governance officer to try to help the Grand Chapter do some new things. And so it sounded like something that I would both enjoy doing and something that I might be able to add some value with. And it just seemed to fit better than the other types of volunteer opportunities I had seen over the years. And so I sort of threw my name in the hat and spoke to John Frost and Steve Lawler at the time. And next thing you knew, I was doing that. So it kind of pulled me back in after 20 years being away. And then about a year ago or so, John approached me about Sigma Pi University and getting that thing off the ground and taking on a role of helping pursue this new adventure. And so that's when I transitioned over to that. And so it's really fun to be back involved and engaged. It's like I never left in many respects. It just feels fun to be able to be connected back to the organization, meeting folks that I had never known before my re-engagement. It just shows the power of the fraternity and what it can do to bring together like minds where you've got this common bond, this common connection, and it just kind of pulls you together. And it seems like I've known these guys since we were in a chapter together, but we weren't. So that's sort of been my journey with Sigma Pi, kind of ebbed and flowed, and here I am back again.
That sounds great, Doug, and really do appreciate everything that you said there. And I totally agree. So kind of moving on to our next question here. Can you share with our listeners about Sigma Pi University and what can it offer to them?
Sure. So it's a new entity. The primary focus is raising money, and the money to be raised is specific to various programming opportunities that can come about for the undergraduates and even alumni for that matter. And so whether it's programming on mental health or career advice or broader mentoring of some kind, mid-year leadership development in general. It's kind of a broad range of opportunities, I think. It's still very new, so we're kind of taking this one day at a time and building the ship at sea, as we like to say. But it's what I enjoy is it's like a startup, which I've been involved with many. And so sometimes when you start off on your journey, you're not exactly sure what it's going to look like, but we're getting a lot of good momentum, attracting a lot of folks, raising some money, And I think we're starting to put together some good programming that I think a lot of our young men will find very, very attractive.
That's awesome to hear, and I'm definitely looking forward to this getting off the ground and getting some engagement for our undergraduates.
Yeah, me too.
So, next question here, Doug, is how is Sigma Pi University different from the Sigma Pi Educational Foundation?
That's a great question. I mean, as it stands today, the Educational Foundation really is scholarship focused, helping young men get access to quality education that they couldn't otherwise afford. And so I think the mission of that group is going to continue in that vein, just getting folks money to go to school. But Sigma Pi University is really about raising money to provide programming, various kinds that we think will make the overall fraternal experience much better for Sigma Pi's. And some of the examples I mentioned earlier, like mental health and um, career advice, mentoring, leadership development, and the like. And so I think that's kind of how we're distinguishing between the two. One is intended to help you get to school financially. The other one is intended to help you get through school and beyond with programming that might be additive and helpful in your journey.
Perfect. Thanks for that clarification, Doug. Our next question here is for members interested in getting involved with Sigma Pi University, what should they do?
Well, pretty simple in my mind. Just email me. I'm happy to have conversations. Someone just did it over the weekend. Actually, is worth getting out. So anyone can email me at Doug Gold, my name, Doug Gold 1969 at gmail.com. And happy to talk to anyone that's interested in getting involved. We're still, again, trying to figure out the various ways to get involved. It's certainly initially we've been very fundraising focused. So as we've built a board, the board members are having to write some pretty decent sized checks. So we're not looking to have just a ton of quantity involvement. We're looking for quality involvement and impactful involvement. But we do have a junior board where we can try to help have some folks get involved over time that maybe today can't quite write a big check or have the Rolodex to raise a bunch of money. But we're happy to build a farm team, and so getting folks involved that are passionate. I'm happy to talk to anyone anytime about Sigma Pi. So I think just main thing is reach out and let's talk.
Sounds great. Well, there you have it, brothers. You can learn more about Sigma Pi University on our website at sigmapi.org. Thank you again, Doug. Really do appreciate your time. And thank you for our listeners for joining us for this episode of the Owl Talk podcast. Please make sure to hit subscribe and leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. And as always, I believe.